Hey, well, it's me, Brian. Yeah. Finish with the frame, it's over there. The engine's right here on the floor, waiting for me to pick it up and put it on the box. Right? You know what I'm saying? We'll get to that later. Right now, it's Bomber 30. Right? The wind is raging. I mean, it's ripping. It's 30, 32 miles an hour sustained right now. Gusting to like 45. All right, Noah, you missed our discussion. I missed our discussion, bro. Yes, well, let's have a discussion, Noah. First of all, I want to say thank you, Noah. How you doing, Bubba? How's the family? How's your boy doing? I mean, he was a good kid last time I seen him. I mean, he should be like in his mid-20s by now, early 20s or something, right? Right? How's the Chrysler? Oh, I'm sorry. How you doing, Noah? Right, you know what I'm saying? I've been doing pretty good, as you can see. You know what I'm saying? I moved out here to the boondocks. You know what I'm saying? Where life is, a lot slower. It's a little bit, it's a lot simpler. But, there's a lot of shit I don't have to put up with anymore. I mean, But aside from that, I do pretty good. I have, a kind of sort of steady part-time job. You know what I'm saying? In between all the other stuff that I have, that I'm responsible to do here. Right? Hopefully one of these days, right? I'm hoping, right? That we move up there in Manhattan to the mountain, right? Because I would, oh man, there's sunlight beaming right in on my face. Right here. Oh, the sun's hitting its path. Here, let's put it right there. Mess with you guys. Right? Because I would really rather live up there on the mountain in that little tiny town. You know what I'm saying? Than I would, than down here in the valley. I mean, the valley's not so bad, but it's every day it's windy. You know what I'm saying? The weather conditions vary. Right? It's just I would rather be up there because it's more peaceful, it's more serene, you know what I'm saying? It's more beautiful. Right? There's a lot more stuff to do and explore, and there's all kinds of abandoned mine shafts and everything all over. I mean there is out here, you know what I'm saying, right, in the flat parts there's tracer mines and all kinds of shit everywhere and up there in the canyons, right? You know what I'm saying? But in my mind, it would be easier for me if I was already up there, within easy walking distance, or hiking distance of the local attractions, you know what I'm saying? It would be way easier since down here, you know what I'm saying? Here we gotta get in the truck, we gotta drive, It's 21 miles from here to Manhattan, from here to Ranch, but, so, anyways. All right. How are you doing, Noah? I'm glad that you've been here on and off all along, ever since we met. But hung out, smoked a few bombers, right? And I do appreciate you, I mean, you got a good sense of humor. You're highly intelligent. You're a great guy. You really are. You're a good dad. You know what I'm saying? All that good stuff. Right? But for the most part, you've always been curious. You're one of those dudes that I came across that was always curious about shit. Always wanted to know something. You know what I'm saying? I always was willing to get in there and try at least 3 or 4 times before you figured out whether you were good at it or not, or you liked it or you didn't. You know what I'm saying? This is something I've been thinking about lately. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because you know me, you know how I think, you know what I believe, you know how my spiritual path, where my traditions have brought me. You know this. And you also know that I know about this subject too, a lot. Right? Because we've had these conversations. But anyways, I was thinking about this. There's this Hindi guy on my feed on YouTube that does this series on all the temples. He's like alien technology guy. He's not so much aliens were here, blah, blah. He was more into their technology, right? And the evidence, of their technology left by the earlier peoples, right, over there in this country, saying in the temples that they built and the things that they carved, into the temples, because you know how like over there, in in Punjanistan and all them places, saying they were very, I mean, for the era of their civilization and the level of their technology, they were very technically advanced. They were. I mean, this guy's trying to say that some of these temples are only 2,700 some odd years old, but you and me both know that they're 300,000-400,000 years old, and that the archaeologists got the timeline wrong. You know this. I proved it. What? So, and he's been coming across a lot of these carvings of machines or of individuals. Now, whether they are us, the humans, the helpers, or they are the gods, the Anunnaki, saying the officers and the technicians that came with them. You know what I'm saying? She's telling them what to do or carving. They're like, he did this one thing of these soldiers with this bow. It was like like a compound bow, the regular bow with the two wheels. Right? And there's a whole series of these carvings of all these soldiers, saying along the side of this one temple during that won this certain victory for the god. Right? What? Now, remember I told you that I believe, I take all of the ancient alien guys, Suskolowski or whatever his name is. Okay, that dude might be right, okay, but he pounds home, right, the wrong information. He's trying to convince us that it happened when a lot of us already know it happened, and we're just seeking the day-to-day proof of it, right? Eons later, saying if they did, engineer us, and if we, right, and we do have part of their DNA, saying I'm interested in the effects, right, and the things that we did for them while they were here, when way back when, right? You know what I'm saying? So it would seem to me, right, that God, right, was one of the officers. Because remember, there are 13 tribes, right? Okay, there's one lost tribe. There's 13 tribes. There was, right? When the Anunnaki came here on their mission status, there was 12 officers and one leader, and then there were 408 heroes. Right, saying the technicians and the miners and the individuals, the support individuals that came with them on the mission from the big spaceship. Right? Now, the way I see it, I mean, yeah, all that, ancient history and civilization conquerors and Persians and Egyptians and Syrians and the Hittites, and yeah. But in my mind, each one of these tribes, each one of these different races of people in that area, right? The land of the land of the two rivers, right? Say Mesopotamia and all that stuff, right? It was an officer was in charge of each tribe, right? Therefore, he was the god of the tribe. You know what I'm saying? And then whatever the individuals, the humans did for the officer, was his job. That was his specific area of responsibility, and his task while they were here on Earth, was to train his humans to do this bit and to do all the other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Right? For me, the proof is in the tablets. It's in the clay tablets. There are literally hundreds of thousands of these tablets all over the place in the Museum of England, the Museum of Cairo, museum over there on Germany land. You say Switzerland's got a couple, saying like that. But and check this out. The Epic of Gilgamesh comprises 3,812 tablets. Right? And that's just one story. And the Sumerians and the Akkadians, and the Babylonians, they literally inscribed millions of tablets. You know what I'm saying? And all of that information, in my mind, is record keeping by the officer, right, through his scribes. You know what I'm saying? Right? Because I've read a few of the translations and the transcriptions of some, because I've studied this for all my life. You know that, right? You know what I'm saying? And some of the more important technical clay tablets, I always start with scribe. Come here, sit down. Right? You saying write this down. And then there are various, and then some of the various tribes, within their tasks, right? Like the Janis, you know what I'm saying? The Sikhs, right? What were those? The Aryans. The Aryans was the race of the people there, were from there in that area, that region of Punjab, right? And right, some of the Hindi, right? You know what I'm saying? Right? So, you know, the very first base religion wasn't actually a religion. It was the officer's theory, his thought. You know what I'm saying? On how he was to deal with his people. Because some of the more higher esoteric religions, you know what I'm saying, rely on certain, you know, naturally occurring factors in order for them to work. You know what I'm saying? You know, sound. Sound is a very big factor. You know what I'm saying? In you know, the way we communicate, the way we interact with our environment. You know what I'm saying? Right? Because you got to remember, they came from a different place. They were dealing with a time shift that was 36:1. You know what I'm saying? For them, day and night was going like this. Well, it was going like this for us. You know what I'm saying? Right? So they had to find a way, you know what I'm saying, to communicate, you know, on a level, right, where our human intelligence could interact with them and do what we were commanded to do, you know what I'm saying, per our skill set. All right, you know what I'm saying? All right. Now the scribe was a highly skilled individual. I mean, not only could he read and write, but he could talk to God. What? You know what I'm saying? He got Moses. I mean, the story of Moses and the Ten Commandments is a perfect example. Moses was one of those human individuals that was higher up in the God's hierarchy. You know what I'm saying? Right? You know what I'm saying? And he was one of the dudes that was in the know. You know what I'm saying? That's why God talked to Moses a lot. You know what I'm saying? Well, you know, but Moses was, at this point, Moses is no important in the officer's mind than any one of his more trusted and more skillful scribes. And that's why he chose Moses, because Moses was the leader of the people, right? You know what I'm saying? But, you know, it's funny, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of the original 13 tribes were, you know, like 4 or 5 of them stemmed from the Semitic DNA. Right, the choice, you know, Elohim, right there, his choice of people. You know what I'm saying? Because it would take days to explain that thought, so let's leave that one alone. Right? Anyways, you know what I'm saying? So some of these more esoteric religions from the East, you know what I'm saying, way over there, Afghanistan, Pakistan, you know what I'm saying, Tibet, you know what I'm saying, you know, right, the monks, you know what I'm saying, Shaolin, all this really old, right, thought, you know what I'm saying, dogma, theology, whatever you want to call it, you know what I'm saying, comes from the writings of the scribes, right? You know what I'm saying? And the way that they, you know, a lot of the words, I've said this a million times, these words are deceptive because, it's, you know, there are millions of words that mean the same thing, but the words are totally opposite. There's words that are totally, you know, right on the number that only mean one thing, but there's 3 or 4 of them. And there's all kinds of different languages. I mean, like, in the King's English has 841,000 plus words. Right? American English has 879,000 plus words. Right? The Japanese language, right? Some of the far, you know, Asian languages have 80,000 words. Some of the American, you know, native Indian, you know, languages, you know, the Dene, you know what I'm saying, the Sioux, right? You know what I'm saying, the Tohono O'odham, right? You know what I'm saying. Their languages have literally 10,000 words. You know what I'm saying? Right? So I believe that the way that they would connect, like here's I'll give an example. The dervishes, the whirling dervishes and the Sikhs, they were the warrior class of their god, their tribe's leader. You know what I'm saying? Right? These dudes would put themselves spinning as fast as they could with their dress and their fez, you know what I'm saying, until they could get them, whirl themselves up into a state of ecstasy. You know what I'm saying? Where nothing matters. Right? You were one with the entire universe. And it works. I've done it. Right? It works. You know what I'm saying? In order to open up their mind to you know, interact with God, a higher being, you know what I'm saying, just living in a different time shift. You know what I'm saying? You know, to bridge that gap, you know what I'm saying, of the intellect, so that he could interact, right? The dervishes would do this before they would go into battle. Whole units of them would spin in the streets with their swords shining and their knives, their big sticky curvy knives, ready to go. You know what I'm saying? And they'd spin themselves up, and God would give them the word, and zoom, just like the Hefe and his boys over there in Phoenix on the south side. Right? They're all sitting around playing volleyball or whatever, drinking Bud Light all day long. There's 40, 50 of them in the backyard of some house. right? The phone rings, boom, they all load the truck. Right? To me, the parallel between a lot of human behavior and human activity today, right, is I can see the direct parallel correlation into the way, right, humans interacted with the officers and the heroes of the Anunnaki on a day-to-day basis. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because remember the time shift thing, Noe, right? 36 to 1, right? What does that mean, Brian? That means this, right? Planet X, 1996, I think it was, but I know it was Bill Clinton that got on national TV and admitted there's another planet in our solar system and it's orbiting this way around the sun. And the astronomers and the astrophysicists are figuring that it takes 3,600 years for each revolution of the Earth, planet X, to go around the star of our solar system. Right? In the meantime, right, us, Earth, and all the other regular planets, except for Pluto, which goes like this, right, are traveling in a pretty much rough circle, like Michelangelo painted on the Sistine Chapel, you know what I'm saying, around the star. So the time shift is that when Planet X comes down on its elliptic towards the bottom end, right, you know what I'm saying, it's spinning 3,600 times slower than the Earth, which is spinning at approximately 38,000 plus miles an hour, right? So the time shift is that they're going way slower than we are and are probably a lot bigger than we are, hence the giants, right? But we're, their thinking and their mind and the way their aura and their personal energy works, right, you know what I'm saying, is a little bit denser and it has a little, lower or higher frequency depending on the individual itself. Right? And so that's why now, modern day, eons, you know what I'm saying, later, because all of this stuff happened million to a million years ago. Right? You know what I'm saying? Archaeologists got the timeline wrong. You know this, Noe. Right? So it's in modern day time, these esoteric religions, the monks over there in Tibet, the Shaolin dudes, you're saying all the Hindus and the Sikhs, the American Sikhs, you're saying all of the Eastern religions that deal on the esoteric plane, you know what I'm saying, are ways for humans to prepare themselves to communicate with the God, with the officer of whoever their, the chief of their tribe was. All right, and then this individual, scribe or whoever, Messiah, prophet, homeboy, first dude, you know what I'm saying, your human with the blue eyes, whichever dude this was, you know what I'm saying, he would, put it out, post it, you know what I'm saying, get it out there, in the little village, all the people, okay, like this is what we're going to do tomorrow, you know what I'm saying, you Bill and you Bob, you guys are going to take your digger teams, you're going to go over there and dig some shit, right, Larry and Jim and Sam and Bob, right, you guys, take your guys' crew over there and start busting up the rocks over there and cutting the thing down. Homeboy's going to come with the whirligig here in a little while, and he's going to bring over the machine, you know what I'm saying? We're going to cut some square blocks out of the rock face over there. So Mikey, you and Susan and Jimmy, you're saying, get your boys over there ready to go, because we're going to load some shit on the whirligig, okay? Kabingo, right? Civilization, that's how it works. That's why all their houses are built all together in one little big gigantic labyrinth of a maze that's got a wall all the way around it, and it's got a pyramid, right, or a platform, or an astronomical, structure that we can look at the stars parked right outside. Because why? Because they still have the whirligig right there. On and on and on, right? Yeah, this is pretty good weed. That's what we were growing. Yeah, Jamaica be happy, Noe. Yeah, you should see the buzz on that motherfucker. But anyway, I'm happy to have a discussion with you, Noe, anytime. Ask any questions. Feel free, anybody else. I'm saying, if you guys are curious, because I do know a lot about this subject. I do. I've studied this for like 35 years of my life. You know what I'm saying? I mean, my friend, my road dog, Charlie, You know what I'm saying? Right? You know, Gypsy, right? He was the one that first turned me on to the book by Zecharia Sitchin, The 12th Planet. You know, that's where the whole thing starts. Now, unfortunately, you know what I'm saying, nowadays, you know what I'm saying, you know, like the book itself was originally published in like 1970 something. You know what I'm saying? Zecharia Sitchin, The 12th Planet, right? But, you know, it's been through like 15 printings right now. It's been redacted, it's been changed, you know what I'm saying? But you get the main premise of the theory, you know what I'm saying, if you read the book, you know what I'm saying? And that's where the whole thing starts. And for me, it started back in, you know, in the 80s, right? And I do know a lot about the subject. I do have, you know, pretty good, concrete, you know, saying ideas on how it worked and the way things were done, right? You know what I'm saying? And you know, I can explain the war between the gods and the fallout from it and how it happened and why, you know what I'm saying? And throw some more, you know, astrophysical bullshit in there between the planets and how they interact when their shit comes back down. Because that planet is gigantic. Right? It's 1/3, I think what they say, it was one. Let me think about this for a minute. It's the size of Neptune, right? You know what I'm saying? And it comes, usually when it comes down on its elliptic, on its trajectory, right? Because remember, it's coming down from the top. You know, so when you look up at the sky, you're not looking straight up, you're looking outward. Because remember, you know, our planet is a round ball, it's a globe, right? And we're up here on the northern hemisphere on this side. So you're looking out into this part of the sky, right? People in Australia are looking out this part of the sky. But people in Europe are looking out this way. You know what I'm saying? Planet X is coming this way. Right? And it's coming between here, right? And the asteroid belt, maybe a little farther out, Jupiter. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, that planet, Nibiru, was the thing that created the asteroid belt in the first place. The battle of, right, Marduk and Tiamat, right? Look it up in the Sumerian stories. Marduk and Tiamat. You know what I'm saying? That story, right, describes in absolute detail, right, the destruction of 3 planets. You know what I'm saying? When, right, Nibiru came through on one of his trajectories millions of years ago. The whole science of it is absolutely fascinating. It really is. Anyways, this is me, Brian, right, having a discussion with my friend Noe. Right? Please like and subscribe, share this video if you thought it was funny, if you think I'm crazy, right? You know what I'm saying? Make a comment. I want to hear what you guys think. Thank you.